Alexander Price was used to solving problems. As the founder of one of the world's top tech companies, his brain was a weapon, his time a commodity, and his health something he never questioned until his body began betraying him. It started with a tremor in his right hand, then came the dizzy spells, slurred speech, blurred vision, and finally, the collapse in his private elevator. Over the course of 5 months, he saw 30 doctors, each more prestigious than the last. They ordered scans, ran full panels, tested for rare diseases, and cross-consulted globally. But every visit ended the same way: shrugs, blank stares, and referrals. No one could figure out what was destroying him from the inside. Alexander's condition worsened. He needed assistance walking. His muscles atrophied. Despite his billions, he was dying slowly, silently, without a name for his suffering. Emotionally defeated and physically fragile, he insisted on one final act of rebellion, leaving his mansion for a cup of coffee. His aides protested, but he dismissed them. He needed normalcy, a moment to breathe. In an old part of the city he hadn't visited in years, he found a tiny cafe, tucked between 2 abandoned storefronts. The place smelled of cinnamon and old wood. A young waitress named Mira approached, smiling warmly. She didn't recognize him, didn't see a billionaire, just a tired man with sad eyes. "You okay?" she asked, pouring his coffee. For the first time in months, someone asked him that without a clipboard in hand. They talked, and her questions weren't medical, they were human. What he ate, how often he opened his windows, what cleaners his housekeepers used, whether the furniture in his office was new. Her tone was casual, but her attention was sharp. Alexander felt something he hadn't in months: hope. There was no arrogance, no prescription, just genuine curiosity. Before he left, she wrote something on a napkin. "Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the air around you." That simple note would lead to the discovery none of the 30 doctors had found and ultimately save his life. Alexander Price returned to his mansion, clutching the napkin like a lifeline. Mira's words echoed in his head. "Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the air around you." It sounded too simple, too unscientific to take seriously, but he had nothing to lose. That night, for the first time, he walked through his home as a stranger. He began noticing things he'd long ignored: the chemical scent of the imported rugs, the harsh lemon polish used daily on his antique desk, the faint hum from the new smart HVAC system that had been installed just weeks before the symptoms started. With a sudden urgency, he ordered a full environmental assessment of the house air quality: mold, toxins, even electromagnetic emissions. The results were staggering. Hidden inside the walls was a slow gas leak from the basement generator, pumping trace amounts of carbon monoxide throughout the property. The new insulation and energy-efficient systems had trapped it in. None of the doctors had thought to ask about his environment. None had considered that his pristine high-tech palace might be killing him. When the leak was repaired and the air systems cleaned, Alexander's symptoms began to fade within days. The tremors stopped. His mind cleared. For the first time in months, he walked without assistance. The transformation stunned even his own medical team. But Alexander knew who had truly saved him: not the doctors, not the machines, but a sharp-eyed waitress with no formal education, only empathy and instinct. He returned to the cafe, not with security or cameras, but alone with gratitude. Myra nearly dropped a tray when she saw him. He sat at her table and, smiling, said, "You saved my life." She laughed nervously, brushing it off, but he insisted. In that booth, he offered her a job, head of a new division he was starting: human-centered diagnostics. Myra declined the title, but accepted the mission. From that day forward, the girl who served coffee became the quiet force behind a revolution in healthcare, reminding the world that sometimes the greatest wisdom comes from simply listening.